Hi there, welcome. Today's video is all about procrastination and perfectionism, where these two intersect. We're going to talk about what it is, common patterns that happen for perfectionists when they're dealing with procrastination. And by the end of the video, my goal is for you to have greater self-awareness, because that is intrinsically empowering, but also to have greater self-compassion for why you're doing this, why this might be happening for you, because that also leads to greater self-empowerment. And ultimately, my goal is for you to be able to identify if and when these patterns are happening for you and be able to interrupt them in the moment. So stick around until the end, because I'm going to teach you a really simple process that is also really powerful for interrupting these patterns in a kind and meaningful way. We'll also talk a bit about what deeper work on these patterns might look like and be like for you. So it's going to be juicy. I'm really excited to dive in, and let's do it. Okay, so procrastination. The main way that I think about procrastination is, let's say you've been given a task, an assignment. Maybe you gave yourself the task or assignment because you work for yourself. Or maybe you're getting something ready for a certification or some new level of schooling that you plan to do. When procrastination is present, two main things are happening, either one of them or both. And that is that we are spending more time than we really need to on the task, or we're spending more energy than we really need to on the task. And so sometimes that might mean, as we spend more time, it's that we're stealing time from other areas of our life to work on this thing, right? That's beyond what's really appropriate. Sometimes taking more time on the task actually means we don't meet the deadline, right? It gets pushed out further and further and further and further. When we're spending more energy on the task than is really appropriate, that once again might mean that we're taking energy from other areas of our life where we need it and putting it towards this in a way that isn't really appropriate for this task, for this time in our life. It could also mean that we spend so much energy on it that by the time it's done, we are like a hollow shell of ourselves. We're burnt out, we're stressed, we have to lay in bed for a week, a month, whatever it might be. This is a common pattern. So there's got to be a better way, right? Like, it shouldn't have to be like this. And I agree. So let's think of an example. I want to talk about how things might naturally flow if you were neutral, if you weren't running this procrastination deal. Let's say your boss or manager or coworker gives you an assignment, right? They need you to do this big report or this big writing piece. And you're excited to do it. It's a great opportunity. And you also feel like, okay, this is my chance, right? Or maybe it's something you gave to yourself. You assigned it to yourself because you work for yourself. And you're like, okay, this is my chance to shine, to really show my skills, my insights with the world. And if things were neutral, if procrastination and perfectionism wasn't in the mix, it would probably look like understanding the task. So the beginning is understanding the task. The middle would be performing the activities that you need to do to complete that task, writing, researching, editing. And then there's the end, where you do the final touches and you turn it in, or you share it with the world, right? But when procrastination and perfectionism come into the party, there are three main patterns that I've witnessed that happen here. And they actually follow that beginning, middle, end sequence. So in the beginning, this pattern is what I call the preparer, where we get stuck in preparation mode. And it might be that we get stuck once again, that it delays us so much that we actually don't that we don't get to the deadline. We don't meet the deadline. Or it might just be that it takes extra time from other things in our lives, right? But the psychology behind the preparer is that we want to do everything we can in our power to do this task well. And the plan is, if we can get everything ready in the beginning, before we even start, that's going to set us up for the most success. So we need to optimize our understanding of the task and all the resources and tools that we have available to us. We also need to optimize, potentially, every other part of our lives: our sleep routine, our writing schedule, our writing music, our diet, to optimize our brain function, our supplement. We could spend so much time just trying to get ready to do the thing because we think that that will somehow give us the perfect outcome that we desperately feel we need. So, preparation. The middle. Sometimes you do the first part and you do the second part. Sometimes you just do one of these, but in the middle, there you are, mid-task, right? You've been working on it, you've got a draft, you're engaging with the material, engaging with the research. You're kind of deep in it. It's more alive, it's more multidimensional now. And the thing that happens here is what I call the swirler, where we start to swirl. And the main psychology behind this phase is self-doubt. We are doubting ourselves, second-guessing ourselves. We're checking, rechecking, checking again. How about one more time? And we are doubting our ability to do this well, and if what we've even created is even worthwhile. Maybe we even scrap it, go back to the drawing board, right? There can be this kind of chaotic volatility to this swirling where it's like, I don't know, maybe, and maybe we're doing extra research, extra activity. And then towards the end, there's another pattern that can come in that I call the holding or holder, when you become a holder. And this is where maybe the task is like 99% done. And it's pretty close to being ready to turn in. Or it actually is ready. It's just, oh, don't share it yet. And there's this tweaking that happens. And maybe you are doing that checking, rechecking at this phase too. But the psychology here is, I just don't know if it's ready. I just don't know if it's perfect. I think that it just needs a little bit more time. And maybe you've even held it at that 90% done because doing the final touches on it somehow makes it feel more real and makes you confront that, but is it up to my expectations or my projected expectations that others have for me and this task? So it's this holding. Now, okay, so we talked about, right, the prepare, the swirler, and the holder. Now, I realize as I've talked about all this, there's a bigger picture procrastination pattern of simply not doing the thing because everything I described is that you're still interacting with the task at hand. But there's another version of procrastination where you're doing everything else, right? And that's kind of what the preparer addresses, which is, well, I have to clean my space if I'm going to write a great article, essay, novel, whatever it is. And I have to do the laundry, and I have to write all those thank you cards that I just haven't gotten to. So sometimes procrastination looks like not engaging with the task, right? And convincing ourselves that doing things outside of the task are what's most needed for it. And when perfectionism is part of your procrastination, usually the impetus behind it is that I need to do this well. I need to do it perfectly. And so I can justify doing all these other things, optimizing all these other things, because it will help me do it perfectly, because that is the goal. So comment below if any of that resonates, if you identify as a preparer, a swirler, a holder, or maybe some other flavor of what you do. And then what I'd like you to do is take a moment to check in with yourself. Okay, so we're going to check in kind of with the system. And when I say system, I mean your body, so your physical body, your breath, your thoughts. So like, is your mind busy? Is it quiet? and your feelings if there's any emotions coming up for you. So just take a beat, take a few breaths. You can close your eyes here. I'm going to. And just notice how you feel, especially after thinking about these patterns. It's a really powerful opportunity anytime we dig into deeper insights, deeper awareness of a pattern in our life to check in with ourselves, because just thinking about all that, I'm sure it lit up different parts of your system because it, it resonated in certain ways or it reminded you of certain things. And so what I want to talk about now is what the deeper feeling is behind all of that. And you might have already picked this up, but a through line through all of that, the preparer, the swirler, the holder, and even the let's just do everything else part, there's an incredible amount of fear. Did you notice that? Did you feel that? It's this fear that if I don't do it perfectly, if it's not perfect, then something bad is going to happen. Now, that something bad is going to happen could be a myriad of things. And this is where it connects more with each of us and our personal upbringings and associations and beliefs about life, about ourselves, about life, about what's possible for us. But there's this deep feeling like something bad could happen, whether that's a loss of love, a loss of security, a loss of feeling like we have something valuable to provide, feeling like we can contribute, a loss of sense of self-worth, purpose, right? It can feel like if it's not perfect, it's going to threaten something that is not okay to be threatened. I need that to be secure. There's this way that perfectionism tells us that if you do all this work to make it perfect, that is somehow going to insulate you and protect you from the pain of being vulnerable and exposed and potentially criticized, judged, all of that. And that's a really tender thing to realize, is that this perfectionism pattern and the procrastination is actually trying to protect you. It's trying to protect you from something that feels really scary. So this leads us to, there's the self-compassion, right? Like, oh my gosh, it's trying to help. But this leads us to what I'd like to invite you to do if and when you notice any of these patterns coming up for you. This process is a really powerful way to interrupt the pattern in the moment. And sometimes, I just want to name this at the top of this, is sometimes interrupting it in the moment is the most powerful choice we can make. And that is where a lot of the work happens, because those incremental little case by case, moment by moment shifts and repatterning can create whole new landscapes in your being and in how you move throughout life. And sometimes we also need deeper work and deeper support to address the deeper roots of a pattern. And that's where things like deeper coaching or therapy or EFT tapping or other type of work, EMDR, can help address the deeper root. But this in the moment pattern interrupt and recalibration is key. So let's talk about what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to talk about like the most basic, and then we're going to layer on some more nuanced approaches. Okay, so 3 steps, maybe 4. Okay, so step number 1, awareness. You realize the pattern's happening. Maybe it's because you're aware of your body. Maybe you have some background in somatics, or you've been watching these videos and you know how to like sensation track, but you notice something's off, right? You can feel yourself doing that pattern. Number 2, you name what the pattern is. You identify it. So you can put words to it. And this is really powerful because it helps to differentiate between you and the pattern versus you being the same as it, versus you being blended with it, right? So you're aware of it, then you're like, I'm aware that I'm doing the swirling pattern. There's some swirling happening right now. Then 3, take 3 deep breaths. These could look any way you like. Ideally, I would really encourage you to do my favorite type of breath, which is a physiological sigh. So that I'll demonstrate that for you here. And if this type of breath doesn't resonate for you, though, you can do any kind of breath that feels good to you. So a physiological sigh is where you take a deep inhale and then you sip a little bit more air and then you do a slow exhale. I like to do the inhale through my nose and the exhale out of my mouth. Okay, so it looks like this. Just one is amazing, but doing 3 of these in a row can totally shift the state of mind, the state of being that you're in. So that is the basic application of this, right? You're aware of it, you identify it, you take 3 breaths. And the 3 breaths is to shift your nervous system state so that you can connect more with more of your brain, more of your resources are online. And you're also letting your nervous system know, hey, we're okay. We're safe right now. And then you can engage based on what's really important to you. You can engage with what's appropriate to do next. Now, if we want to layer onto this, you still want to do steps 1 and 2, awareness, identification. But with step 3, with those breaths, the other things you can do to make that moment even more potent is to change where you are in your space. So you could stand up if you've been seated. You can even stand up, walk outside and do those breaths outside and then come back to your desk, to wherever you were. Now, the 4th step, if I were to add one, is to do a little bit of tapping. This is so powerful because breath is powerful, but tapping has been scientifically proven to reduce cortisol in our system. So this is a really powerful way to rewire what we associate with danger and fear and what we associate with peace. So in that moment where your system's feeling scared about doing the thing and what if I do it wrong and what if it's not perfect, you can soothe yourself with tapping. So still take those breaths, but then you can just tap on 1 or 2 points or all of them. And if you need to know more about tapping, I'll link the how to tap video that I made in the description below. But just tap on a few points and you can just calm yourself down by breathing, or you can say some phrases that you find helpful. This is where whatever thoughts or psychological kind of framing or reframing that resonates for you is what I recommend. So some things that I've found helpful are, it's okay for me to learn as I go. And mistakes are part of success. Failure is part of success. I also like affirming that my worth is so much bigger than how I do on this assignment. I also really like to remember that I'm going to get better by doing the thing from start to finish, again and again and again. That's how I'm going to get better at this. And it's okay to not be perfect. So basic, right? It's okay to not be perfect. So whatever helpful phrases you find you want to anchor to, and maybe it's even like, I love I choose statements. So like, I choose to be kind to myself. I choose to move forward with this task. I choose to relax and take steps. So whatever that looks like for you, you can do a little tapping that can add even more juice to this. Now, if this feels like a pattern that has deep roots for you and is really chronic, really tenacious, I would really recommend bringing this pattern to some type of deeper work that you're doing. So that might be with an EFT coach like me, that might be with a therapist, somatics, otherwise might be in an EMDR session. But bringing this pattern, this awareness that you've cultivated through this video and other things, bring that to the deeper work, because addressing the deeper roots then makes these little adjustments that we're doing with this pattern interrupt, awareness, identification, breaths. It makes that that much easier, right? It's like you're just walking down a path that you've really carved out through the woods. And then you're just walking down it on a regular basis, making it an established path for your brain and your nervous system to go down when you have some task to work on. So, this was so juicy. I really hope this was helpful. If it was, you can share this with somebody else you think might benefit. And a like, a subscribe, all very good. That will just help more people to find this content. And I'm Michaela. This is Coaching with Michaela. Thank you so much. More soon.